What's up, everybody? This video is about the Novation circuit rhythm and about how I've been trying to figure out how to switch patterns smoothly for a live set. And it has a feature where when you switch a pattern and the play button is on, it will maintain its BPM across the patterns, even if the BPM of the second pattern you're switching to is different. Now, that the point of that feature is to facilitate pattern switching, but for me personally, for my workflow, it doesn't work, mostly because I do want those tempo changes. There's different ways to address this issue, and I have tried different genres of music, some where the tempos are vastly different and some where they're similar. But for this particular genre that I've been playing with lately, the genre of tribal or guaracha, there's a lot of drum loops as opposed to drum sequences, and so you want to make sure that those have a relatively smooth transition over to the next project, because if you change tempos and you're using a drum loop such as this, as you can see, that's not a sequence, that's just a loop. That's not going to work when you switch over to a different tempo in real time. So I've had to figure out how to make my changes in such a way that the tempo does switch. And what I've done is simply basically use a MIDI enabled looper. And so, as you can see in this pack, I have different projects with different tempos. That one's 128. That one is 130. That one's 134. That one's 135. So let's say I wanted to switch in real time between my 128 and my 135. If I did it with the play button, without interrupting the play, it would simply maintain that 128 into the new pattern, and that's not what I'm looking for, but that's what this would sound like basically. If I don't want that switch and I want it to retain its original BPM of 135, what I would simply do is record a loop of the previous pattern, make the switch, the MIDI will switch the looper's BPM, and then I can start the next project. So let me show you how it works. So if I'm ending project 1, what I'm going to do is record 4 beats of this project, have it playing while I load the second project. As you can see, I'm no longer playing the project from the circuit rhythm, but it's playing on the looper. While this is playing and it's synced via MIDI, I can switch to my other project. So you do hear the shift in pitch when the pattern is switching to a BPM, but that shift is relatively smooth, and depending on the dance floor that you're working with or the audience that you're working with, I have found, according to my personal taste, that it doesn't get in the way of the vibe or the tone. Um, so that's just how I like to retain BPMs. Um, I find that the looper, this is a Korg Kaoss KP3, which I've had for like 20 years or something. And I don't know why they don't make something like this. This is so useful in so many different ways, and for some reason I can't. They don't make anything like it. Um, it's an effect machine. It's a sample playback machine. It has an SD card. It's a live looper. It's a MIDI controller. It has MIDI capabilities, MIDI clock, MIDI sync. Um, it has MIDI filter for different types of messages. Um, it does a lot of stuff, and the buttons are just so good, and it's so high quality. It's made out of metal, and this huge fader just feels so good. I just love everything about this, and I haven't found something to really replace it. Um, but using a live looper with BPM enabled is one way that you can manage to switch transition to switch between patterns. It's not the only way, and it might not be the most efficient way, but it's the one that will make sense to my workflow. Um, so yeah, I hope you got something out of that, and let me know if you have any questions. I've tried this setup with a full circuit tracks, setup with both the rhythm and the tracks, with two external synths, and with samples playing, and with a mixer for everything, and with a compressor at the end of the chain, and it's really complicated, but it is really really fun when you get the hang of it, and when you can set up your, as you can see, I have so many scenes. If you set up your scenes ahead of time, it allows you to improvise, not just with the different mutes and stuff, and the knobs, but also with the effects on the external effects unit. So yeah, if anybody tries this, let me know how it goes, and yeah, have fun.